So good to meet you over Skype, man.
I actually met you a long, long time ago. I don't know if you remember. I met you when you guys were shooting Generation Iron. Just quick,
Where was it exactly? Remember?
you guys were at Golds. You were shooting. I think you were shooting with Hide and maybe with one of the other guys. I forget.
That's awesome, man. Well, good to meet you again, then.
Yeah, yeah, cool, man.
Awesome, man. But listen, I'm a big fan of your film, Bigger, Stronger, Faster.
Yeah, likewise, man. It just goes both ways.
I appreciate that, man. And you made a great film that touched upon bodybuilding and different sports, and of course, the biggest topic is the steroids. So I have a question. Obviously, when you were making the film, you were interacting with a lot of these guys that were bodybuilders or athletes that were steroid users. And then when the film came out, did you get any type of like reaction? Like, were they upset about it that you kind of exposed the subject matter and brought it to such a forefront?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, there was a little bit of blowback from some people. I think that there was a reason why I didn't include like some of the top bodybuilders and some of the top power lifters and some of the top people in sports is because like they wouldn't talk to me in the first place. They didn't want to talk about steroids. So I wasn't trying to out anybody. The movie was never trying to be like, here's a condemnation of Barry Bonds or I got you, Lance Armstrong, or it wasn't anything like that. The movie was really meant to focus on my family because my brothers were the ones that were going to tell me the truth. So at first I was worried about that. Like when you want to make a movie about something like bodybuilding or powerlifting or any of this stuff, you really want to do it. Like my first thought, train of thought was like, do what you're doing. Like go after the top guys in the business and talk to them about it, or whatever. And then like, you just realize like with the kind of movie that I wanted to make, that wouldn't work, like that just wasn't going to be something that would work. Like nobody that's at the top that has anything to lose is going to want to tell you about it. And if you just kind of understand that and you go, well, like, let's talk to the people that have nothing to lose because they'll actually tell us the truth. I think that we were able to get more to the heart of the matter rather than sort of circle around a bunch of people maybe that would lie to us.
Your film came out, I believe, in 2008, 2009. And since then, what is your take on on the topic of steroids now?
What I like and what I'm actually very proud of, and I think that's great, is films like Bigger, Stronger, Faster and films like Generation Iron have helped open people's eyes to the fact that, like, look, this is a sport where it's an extreme sport. There's an extreme amount of work that goes into this, an extreme amount of discipline that goes into this. With Bigger, Stronger, Faster coming out, it sort of paved the way for people to understand, like, okay, these people do drugs. Like, this is part of it. It's just part of what they do. And let's not really like look at that. I love what you did in Generation Iron because what you guys did was like you didn't totally ignore it. You like had that part with Jim Stepani in there where he explains it in a way that sort of takes it off the table, which is nice because like let's not focus on that because that's not what this is about. This is about how hard it is to live inside of a sport that is a 24/7 adventure. I mean, like bodybuilding is 24/7, 7 days. You can never stop. And I think that's what your film more focused on was like the sacrifice and dedication. And my film focused on, the drugs and the ethical use of the drug use. So I feel like what the films both did was sort of pave the way for people to understand our culture of fitness, bodybuilding, because it's all kind of the same. We all come to this for the same reasons. I think we all are drawn to any of this stuff because in some way we felt like we weren't good enough. We felt a void in our lives that we weren't maybe good enough. And so we go to try to be the best that we can be. And a lot of times in bodybuilding, powerlifting, strongman, whatever these sports are, these muscle and strength sports, they have to be extreme. It's an extreme endeavor that requires a lot of sacrifice, dedication, and focus. And I think that that's what like our films did is put more of the energy on that rather than like the negativity of it.
Absolutely, but I'm currently working on a film about MMA.
I was just gonna bring that up actually, yeah, because that's another story too.
Definitely, yeah, and I'm talking to guys like GSP and John Jones and a bunch of other guys. They have a whole different outlook on steroids, right? And obviously it's being used in MMA without a doubt, but sort of like their opinion is this is completely unacceptable because in our sport you get hurt. Like if one guy is on something and the other guy is not, you can get permanent damage.
I think it's a total cop-out when they're like, oh, the guy's going to get too strong and he's going to permanently damage me. I mean, I don't think that that's going to be the case. I think that I don't know, we've seen the best guys in the world use them. Anderson Silva used them and, Has he permanently damaged anybody worse than like look at what Chris Weidman did to Anderson Silva's leg? That's way worse, and that wasn't because the result of steroids. That was just a freak accident. So I think that in MMA, I mean, you can get hurt way worse from just like look at what happened to Ronda Rousey. That was a result of steroids, and she's out for 8 months. So no matter what, it's a brutal sport.
In your opinion, basically, it's really steroids are not a factor for success in any sport.
Well, they are a factor for success, but the thing is that I feel like that like they help to a certain extent. So if they give you like a 10%, we always kind of hear this idea that they give you like this 10% advantage if you're looking at like strength, in strength sports. So if you look at any other sport, it would be more about like recovery. Like how much recovery do you get from it? How much longer can you go? How much harder can you train? And I think that goes a long way because we see that if you can train harder and recover quicker and do things better, it seems like the guys who are already like the best guys are going to still continue to already be the best guys, but at a better, like because they can train harder, not necessarily because they're getting 10% stronger. So I don't think it's like the 10% strength increase as much as it is the increase over time that it gives these athletes, like using them over time. But the bottom line is like it's something that's been in sports since like the 50s. I think that it's been in sports a lot longer than we think. I mean, I don't know who the first baseball player that used steroids was. There's rumors of Reggie Jackson. There's rumors of Ken Griffey Sr. But looking back at these guys, like there all those telltale signs are there. We just weren't investigating and putting all of our efforts into it then. So who knows if Mickey Mantle was on steroids? We don't know. They were around then. So like, why wouldn't you put it past somebody to say this is a drug that makes you better at something? It would be a no-brainer for somebody to use it back then. I don't see why we only think that it came into the fray like in the 80s, 90s or whatever.
What is your general take on professional bodybuilding? How do you see it?
I think that it is getting exciting again. I think that the fact that Kai Green didn't compete this year really did hurt things. I think that which is good. I think it's nice that somebody actually has enough power nowadays that it did make a difference. It did make a difference that he didn't compete, and hopefully he does. Hopefully he gets back out there this year to make it more exciting. But I think that if we in bodybuilding, we had a great period of time. I came to Gold's Gym in 1994 in Venice. That's where I've trained since 1994. And I saw like Paul Dillette, Chris Cormier, Kevin Levrone, all these guys were all in the fray. They were all in the mix at the same time. And that was like an awesome period of bodybuilding because like at the top you had like Flex Wheeler and Dorian Yates. And at the bottom of the barrel, you had guys like Chris Cormier, who was amazing. So he was like, coming in 10th. And you got guys like, Flex Wheeler coming in second, first, It was just an amazing time for bodybuilding. I think that in order for us to get back there, we need more guys like Kai Green. We need like more, we need 10 of those guys, So we need a roster that is, not just Phil Heath and Kai Green. We need more of those guys to like, slot in there. So we're getting there. There's more and more guys coming up through the ranks that we're seeing. Like Dennis Wolf is just like a freak, and there's guys that we're seeing coming up. We'll see. I mean, I think I don't know. I mean, I think that it definitely had a dip. Bodybuilding definitely had like a dip for a little while, but I think it's coming back. I think that people are into it. I think with Instagram, that fitness and bodybuilding in general is just going, I think it's going through the roof. I think that people have the wrong idea of it. People say like, oh, bodybuilding's losing popularity and all this stuff. And I think like maybe bodybuilding, like pro bodybuilding at the highest level of the Mr. Olympia might be declining in what people think of it. But I think overall the whole fitness industry is rising.
Can you tell me about your film that's coming out, Prescription Thugs? I saw the trailer. I think it looks amazing, very interesting, and it's definitely going to be one of those, I think, investigative films where you're definitely going to uncover new topics. So can you talk about it a little more?
Back in the day when I was first started training at Gold's, I had always heard like these rumors of people using painkillers, and they would work out and they would train on painkillers. And like I never really understood why anybody would do that. I never really got it. I was always like a power lifter, and like part of lifting heavy was like, hey, we kind of got to feel pain because we got to know when our bodies are, kind of shot so that we don't overdo it and stuff like that. So, I mean, we were kind of used to the pain and like, kind of welcomed it in a way. But I'd always heard about people using Nuban and these other drugs. And I actually had a double hip replacement surgery right in 2008 when we finished Bigger, Stronger, Faster, the year that we finished it. I had a double hip replacement surgery due to genetic arthritis that I had in my hips. And I had never taken steroids. I had taken steroids, I admitted in the movie, one time at that point in my life. So, it wasn't from that, which people are like, oh, did you get your hips released from steroids? And, so you get the stupidest comments when you make a movie. So it wasn't from that. And then got my hips replaced and then got on painkillers and got hooked on them. And it got pretty bad. It got to a point where in the beginning it was fun because I used to go to the gym and I would work out and I was still powerlifting and still really strong at the time. And I was on painkillers, so you didn't feel the pain and you would train through the pain because there was none. And you constantly got stronger and constantly were, building up and didn't really realize what the toll that it was actually taking on not just my body, but on who I was. It kind of like turns you into a different person. And I've always been pretty easygoing, nice guy, and I wasn't like a nice guy during that time. I didn't treat everybody with the respect that I normally do, and just wasn't the same person. I should just say. I mean, that's probably the easiest way to put it. And then shortly after we finished Bigger, Stronger, Faster, when I was after I had this hip surgery and I was addicted to pills, my brother died, and the main reason behind my older brother's death was prescription drugs. He had prescription drugs found in his system when he died. He didn't have anything else in his system when he died. He was in a sober living house for 62 days when he passed away, and he was, in our minds, sober. Going through this, and so we don't know exactly what killed him. If it was an overdose, if it was, they couldn't really figure out in the autopsy. They just ruled it an accident. So prescription drugs have been a part of what's going on in my family for a while, and I just kind of wanted to get to the bottom of it, why this was something that has taken America by storm. We represent 5% of the world's population. We consume 75% of the world's prescription drugs. So I was just kind of trying to figure out, as like a citizen of this country, like why we're so obsessed with taking drugs.
Right. Well, I think this is a very important film, and I really want people to see it. And when does it open?
It'll be out January 22nd. So it's through Samuel Goldwyn Pictures. So the way that it'll be released is it'll be in 25 cities. If you want to check that out, you can go to samuelgoldwyn.com, or you can go to like prescriptionthugs.com. You can go to Prescription Thugs on Facebook. It'll give you all the cities that it's playing in theatrically, but it'll also be available worldwide on demand on January 22nd on iTunes, Amazon, wherever you buy movies.
My parents were always supportive of anything. My mother loved, like whatever I wanted to do. You're the best. My mother, my father was like, look at you. I mean, what the fuck's wrong with you? I mean, most teenage boys, you walk in their room and you see pictures of girls in bikinis on the wall. He goes, you got fucking men in their underwear. Who's this guy, Arnold Schwarzenegger?